Hey guys, so back in April of 2020, I decided to interview my grandma Rita Hillenbrand. At the time, the pandemic just hit and I was sent home from my freshman year of college. I was full of sadness and confusion, but I wanted to do something impactful during quarantine. As a history major and a history enthusiast and someone who would just like to get to know her grandma more, I decided that this piece of history needed to be shared and to be learned. So what I learned was the history of her life and people around her, their lives. Now, this might have been some base level information, but it's still something I didn't know in the past about her, and I thought it was very helpful and it benefited me because I think we should always try to learn from each other, understand each other, and love each other, because that's what humans are put on this earth for, to learn and to love. I hope you enjoy this piece of history and you learn something from it as well. Enjoy. State your name.
My name is Rita Hillenbrand.
And who are you married to?
Robert Hillenbrand.
So he had two brothers, well, more than two brothers, but two brothers that were in World War II, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And their names were Louis and Victor, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they took part in the D-Day Normandy invasion.
I think, I'm not sure, but I think
That makes sense.
Vic did.
Victor Hillenbrand started out in World War II as an infantryman. After being wounded in action in France, he was transferred to Sergeant Corps of Engineers Armor Service. He was a carpenter in Company B, 843rd Engineer Aviation Battalion. Victor was in Iceland, Scotland, and Ireland for 1 year in preparation for D-Day. His company went into Cherbourg on the third day after the Normandy invasion. He received the Purple Heart for taking a bullet in his leg in France and was also awarded the Oak Leaf Cluster. It is indicated in a letter that the Purple Heart cannot be received twice, hence the Oak Leaf Cluster is awarded. Louis was a supply sergeant in the infantry who spent his first 2 years in service in the United States. His co went into Normandy on the first day of the D-Day invasion. He was also awarded the Purple Heart.
But, yeah, I'm not positive, Brianna.
So what did you know about Victor and Louis?
Well, they both were in the active part of the war, where they actually had to fight and shoot and kill people. I mean, he had pictures. He took a lot of pictures. He bought a camera in Germany. So he was...
His time over.
Right. So he was taking all kinds of pictures.
Yeah.
So...
I would like to look at those again sometime. Really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say they had Victor and Louis had stories written down somewhere of their time over there?
Yeah, well, that Lois had written of their, the medals that they earned and what they meant, and...
Oh, the Purple Hearts, yes.
Yeah, and
that's really cool, that they got the Purple Heart.
And the time that, they served.
Uh-huh.
So...
What was your life like when you were younger, Grandma?
What was my life like?
Yeah.
On a farm?
Yeah. Small farm girl?
Yeah. It was hard work for the whole family.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I had to take care of the chickens.
Didn't you hate those chickens?
I hated them chickens. And,
Why'd you hate them so much?
because there'd be roosters with the chickens, and they were very aggressive. They would chase you and try to peck you, and
That's so funny.
and at night the chicken coop was in the kind of a field in back of the farm buildings, and the chickens like to roost in the trees at night, and so the coyotes would grab them and eat them. So you had to get them out of the tree and into the coop. And so chicken, they'd poop on your head while you're trying to chase them out of the tree, and it was lots of fun, Brianna.
Oh my gosh. Is that what you remember most? Those dumb chickens?
Yeah. Well, you were allowed a lot of freedom. There were a lot of cats on the farm, so I like kittens. So I had a lot of animals to play with.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
And how many siblings did you have again? A lot of them?
I had 4 brothers and 1 sister.
So Bernie, Eddie,
Carly, Norbert, and Joseph.
Is Carly Grandpa's brother?
Yeah.
Okay. So Norbert, Joseph, I already forgot. Bernie and Eddie, right? And then Adeline.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you said Adeline was more like the boy than Bernie.
She was a tomboy. She liked to climb trees, and her and Eddie were
Best friends?
best buddies. Eddie would say, me and the Mecha, which means me, and I think Mecha means girl.
And then Bernie liked to cook and bake and do all that.
Well, he was the 3rd one born, so my mom needed help in the kitchen, so he kind of got hooked into helping her in there and doing all that stuff, and he seemed to enjoy it, so he didn't mind doing it, and he liked to garden from young on.
What did they do? Were you friends with any of your siblings, or were you just way too young?
Well, I'm sure you were in the same situation in your family. You had 2 brothers, right? Mm-hmm. Where I had an older sister, but there were 6 years difference between
that's
us.
Me and Matt.
Yeah.
Wait, was your older sister the second to last born before you?
No, Eddie was.
So were you close to Eddie at all, or was Eddie just close to Adeline?
No, he was a typical brother. He liked to tease you and not... I mean, when I was in grade school, we'd have to... The bus wouldn't pick us up, so we'd have to find a way to get to school on our own, so... Yeah.
How far was your elementary school?
Quite a good hike, at least.
Did you guys walk to school?
The older kids did.
Okay.
When my dad, would try to drive us in the wintertime.
It was cold.
Yeah. And but Eddie was in high school while I was still in grade school, so he would drop me off. He had a motor scooter, so we'd drive to school on that, and my hair would be all messed up and I'd be all dirty. He'd hit every puddle there was, and I didn't enjoy it.
That's funny.
And then a lot of times I'd have to sit and wait for him. He'd forget that I was waiting for him to be picked up after school. I remember one time I was standing down by the road for probably a couple hours waiting for him to pick me up.
Oh my God. How did he remember to pick you up then?
Well, he got, when you're in high school, there's always something going on, and I'm sure there was a lot of horsing around going on. And
did he when did he remember to pick you up? Did he just oh crap, I forgot my baby sister?
Oh crap, I gotta pick her up again. And so he was a good brother. He was just a typical Typical boy, a butthole, huh?
Yeah, that's what I like to say. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's interesting that they didn't have any way of getting you to school, though, other than that.
Well, afterwards, when I got into the upper grades, I'd they let me ride the bus until the end of the Cutsabugle Road, and then I'd have to walk the rest of the way home.
Wow.
Which was probably a mile and a half.
Jeez, they're just like, get off the bus.
Yep. And there was a neighbor down at the end of the big hill that raised these big black steers, and they were always out in the road.
Were they scary?
Of course, they would come walking towards you, and
Oh.
you'd be scared, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. I don't like them.
Yeah.
Scary.
So, lots of fun, right, Brianna?
Yeah. How far did, you said you met Grandpa, on a before then, but he was set up on a blind date with you?
The first time, his friend, he was kind of an outlaw, and he got picked up for drunk driving, so he would lose his license, driver's license for a while. So then he'd always talk Dad into taking him around,
Wow.
So then his girlfriend, I used to go to high school with her. So I think they kind of set it up together.
Do you think he was too nervous? Is that why he stood you up on the blind date, or do you think
No, he had seen me at Turner Hall, at a dance hall. And he thought he didn't think I looked too hot to him, so
That's mean. So then why did he end up giving you a chance then?
Well, that was your grandpa.
He just oh, never mind, I kind of want to date her.
Yeah, so I thought, he called me up and said he couldn't make it. I could tell he was calling from a tavern.
Oh my gosh.
So I thought, the heck with you. I went to the dance anyway and went home with some other guy. That's what we used to do, Brianna.
Just ditch your dates and go
These
home
guys would stand in back of the dance hall and look all the girls over and then decide, oh, maybe I'll ask her to take her home.
As you were saying. So then you went home with some other guy.
Yeah.
How did you and Grandpa end up being together, though?
Well, I think I had gone, I don't remember how I got there, maybe with Eddie. We went to a dance. Dad, of course, was standing in back. He never danced. He just stood and gawked at the girls. So then he was in the service with one of my first cousins. Mm-hmm. So he was there. So he asked him, well, what kind of a girl is she? And he said to him, she's a nice girl. Take her home. That's how it started, Brianna.
That you're a nice girl.
Yeah. And then the first time he came to pick me up, he was pretty sad looking. He had cut himself while he was trying to shave, and he had little pieces of toilet paper stuck to his face.
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that make you love the guy, Brianna?
I don't know. That'd be kind of hard. He really pulled out all the stops for you.
We sure did.
And then what happened from there?
Well, we just kept going out, and that's...
what did you guys do on your first date?
We went to a movie, probably. That's about all the excitement I had in those days. He wasn't a very good kisser. Well...
Did he get better eventually?
Not really.
You just got wrecked by Grandpa.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that was unteachable, huh?
Oh, sad. And then you had 3 wonderful kids.
Right. Yeah.
Want to say goodbye to my YouTube channel?
What?
Say bye. My YouTube channel.
Bye.
Thank you, Grandma.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to do a couple thank yous, because this video would have never been made and created if it weren't for some of these people. I would like to thank Lois Gassman for creating our family history book, for which I derived a lot of my information from that I didn't learn about from my grandma. And of course, I would like to thank my grandma Rita Hellenbrand for allowing me to interview her and learn about her history, as well as teach others her history as well. Love you guys, and thank you for watching. More videos coming soon, guys. Like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. What do they call you?
Katsamura.
What does that mean?
Cat mother.
It's an absolutely beautiful day out today. Almost 70 degrees. Beautiful spring day. Happy to be alive. It's a great vlog already.